Since 2025 is coming to a close, it's time to look back on 5 of the most memorable clears out of the hundreds I made this year. Criteria is probably gonna be something like the impact it has on me and how creative the clear overall is. RNG factor will play a minimal role here. An honorable mention is probably this Rappa 0AV. It ended up being insanely ridiculously harder to do than expected in terms of calculations needed, but in the end I managed regardless. I even got COVID in the middle of it, but even that didn't make the list. Now let's get into the actual top 5. But before that, let me introduce you to the best platform for recharging Stellar Jades, LD Shop. On LD Shop, you can purchase Stellar Jades at an extremely cheap rate compared to in-game. Using LD Shop, you can save up to 33% or even more when recharging your Honkai Star Rail account. Today, I'll be buying this Jade pack that only costs $39.35 compared to the in-game price of $50. All you need to do is give LD Shop your account UID and region, send your payment, and the Stellar Jades will be sent straight to your account in less than a minute. On top of that, if you recharge up to $80 in a month, you can get a supply pass for free straight from the website, which can be treated as another $5 discount on any purchase. Even if you use VPN method, you can never get a cheaper price than LD Shop with the free supply pass. There's no reason to not use this website. People who say there are risks to doing this are complete idiots that don't know how it works. I swear on my channel's integrity that you will not be banned or scammed. Don't forget to register using my link in the description for an extra 15% off coupon. I hope you would recharge on this website after registering using my link because that's the best way to support my channel as YouTube's ad revenue is genuinely horrendous. At number 5 is my Casterus 1 Cost 0 cycle. This clear actually changed the direction of my content massively. I was going to trash on her like Fireflop, but this clear made me realize how ridiculously intensive her gameplay optimization is. The RNG factor was also extremely grueling, but even 1 out of 10,000 chance was nothing compared to how grueling the theory crafting process was. For changing my perspective completely, it deserves a spot here. At number 4, it will have to be my recent Sundog Plight Zero cycle. This was the one thing stopping me from full completion of HSR. I even pulled E6 Siren for it. I was extremely afraid of not meeting the damage check when Plight released since I didn't test it on beta, but in the end I managed to win despite also having extreme period cramps that day. If I couldn't get the clear despite getting E6 Siren, I don't know what I would have done. This was the most scared I was at any point of my career. That's why it's also ranked higher. Next, we have the 3.4 AS0AV clear. This is still the lowest cost 8,000 score in history. It marks a significant milestone for me. Something that was completely impossible before was suddenly possible because of all the stars aligning. This was the first time my account reached full completion. At number 2, we have the 1 Cause Zila Zero cycle on Nicodor. This clear is extremely significant because the Queen of HSR in 1.x and 2.x suddenly revived and destroyed Facial and even the Herda, who got shielded on this boss, proving that power creep is a figment of the player's imagination. You'll never find a DPS in any gacha game that has done something of this magnitude. It's even my most viewed video and probably the most viewed Zero cycle on YouTube. But alas, I can only put it at number 2, because what I put at number 1 is out of this world. The number 1 clear is definitely the Sustainless Evernight Zero cycle on Lygus. This clear is genuinely out of this world. When AA first dropped, I accepted my fate that my account, for the first time since 2.0, couldn't zero cycle. Not just that, I even accepted I couldn't clear max rewards. I thought it'll take at least 3 patches for me to even consider zero cycling. That's why I uploaded the Natasha 1-star clear. That'll change when Siren's beta dropped. Rory Goku suggested I try Sustainless Casterus with Siren, and it actually zero-cycled Aquila. So that seals it, right? I'll be able to zero cycle one patch after release. But that wasn't enough for me. I'm the best player in HSR. How could I be satisfied with clearing one patch later when I'm stuck with 1 star on the current patch? I couldn't sleep properly for the whole week of AA's released. If you were in my position, you would definitely understand. The best player only getting 1 star? What a fucking joke. No amount of excuses can cover that. Account restrictions aren't an excuse. They only matter if you manage to clear with it, not if you lose with it. Anyone can lose with account restrictions. This was eating away at me in a major way, but that's to be expected. If your passion doesn't heavily affect your day-to-day life, how could you possibly say you're good at it, much less the best at it? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Some may call this a mental illness, and they might even be right. But that's what being passionate is all about. Better than living a mundane life, that's for sure. Now, back to the original point. In the end, I thought since Siren could do it on a harder boss, Ramei should be able to do it on Lygus. Despite Lygus being easier, there was so many issues with using Ramei, from her uptime to her amp and synergy. It just wasn't on Siren's level for Memo's Bright team. But I didn't falter. For the first and last time, I tested a live clear on PS. I tried E6 Evernights first and got past wave 1 despite using wrong buff, so I went to use the right buff with E2 Evernights and it didn't clear. I had to compromise and use more resources and AV to get past wave 1 in the end. But the real problem has always been the 50 million HP boss on wave 2. Even if Lygus can give Castorus her ult back for me to survive longer with the dragon, it's at the cost of damage opportunity. Sustainless Castorus is fundamentally unusable due to Castorus' energy source being healing and the fact that she damages your team. And to zero cycle the hardest boss with it, where even my E6 S5 Acheron and E2 S1 Facial couldn't even make a dent, that's just a pipe dream that nobody, not even me, thought was remotely possible. After all, her dedicated support wasn't even released. Everyone on the Topa server thought I was joking, and that's a server full of zero cyclers. But as the best player, it's my duty to make the impossible possible anyways. That's just how it is. That's how it has to be, for the sake of my mental stability. After days of grueling trial and error, I eventually found the golden ratio that allows for me to survive and kill Lygus in zero cycle with this fundamentally broken team. This is my magnum opus, my Mona Lisa, and the reason why I'll always love Castorus. This is not just the best clear I've done this year, but the best clear I've made in my entire HSR career, and by extension the best clear I've ever seen in my life. It will remain so for the foreseeable future, because I won't be in the position where I'll need to improvise this much to make a clear like this again. The conditions were too perfect, and I feel like I managed to create an actual miracle. It really goes to show waifu player and meta player don't need to be on separate paths. This was only possible because I'm a waifu's only player. No lolicon or pedophile baits nor men are allowed, which meant I had to improvise and innovate starting from zero, without any reference from anyone including the Chinese community that has a lot of people glaze and copy from. Speaking of which, it was really well received even on Bilibili, reaching 10k views despite me being a no-name there, with people saying it's better than low costs. And I agree with that sentiment. Lowest cost isn't always the best clear. It demands a lot of precision, but not much innovation. That's why low cost always gravitates around the same few support choices. This sustainless Evernight Zero Cycle represents the peak of both precision and innovation, micro and macro. Effective cost-wise, it was even tied with the lowest cost Evernights or Castorus Zero Cycle at the time, before it got lowered eventually, after I posted my own 5-cost Castorus. And despite that clear being really good, it cannot compare to the original sustainless Evernights, which I'll play now in full.
起きて。これは頼むよ。もてなしてさよなら。命はいずれ風に吹き落とされる。大丈夫。夜が来た。おやすみ。私を不可能はない。起きて。おふざけもっとね。さよなら。真の悪よ。焦らない。真守る。逃がさない。楽しんで。起きて。
劇は終わりだ。
本質は同じ。もっとね。さよなら。大丈夫。夜が来た。おやすみ。起きて。できるよ。
真実ロゴスにアクセス中。脆弱性除去。
神聖を実感。
インコレクト。
大丈夫。夜が来た。おやすみ。さよなら。逃がさない。楽しんで。起きて。
回避。アペリオ。
焦らない。私を信じ不可能はない。いい夢がもっとね。さよなら。
インコレクト。
大丈夫。夜が来た。おやすみ。起きて。
無意味です。
命はいずれ風に吹き落とされる。
イデア権限コマンド読み込み中。ウイルスセット。
私を信じて不可能はない。大丈夫。夜が来た。おやすみ。さよなら。楽しんで。起きて。もっとね。さよなら。
アペリオ。
真守れ。大丈夫。夜が来た。おやすみ。起きて。できるよ。おふざけはおしまい。楽しんで。
真実ロゴスにアクセス中。脆弱性除去。
私を信じて不可能はない。
インコレクト。
そんなに焦らなくても大丈夫。いや、命は脆くないので授けます。神聖を。さようなら。